just take a moment on that. Who are you? And this is very, very important. It's really a very, very important thing to consider. Who the heck are you? Now, we're going to try a little syllogisms. I'm going to put up a couple of statements or premises, and we're going to attempt to draw a logical conclusion from them, all right? If A equals B and B equals C, can I not say that A equals C? Yes or no?
Yes.
Sure. If this weighs 1 ounce, and this weighs an ounce, and this weighs an ounce, then I can say that this weighs the same as that. Right? That's pretty logical. So, I say, who are you? You're asked by a judge or who are you? I think that's a whole lot different than what is your name. Don't you think? Who is defined as what or which person or persons? That's one of its definitions I've read. So when I read who means what or which person or persons, the judge says, who are you? And you go, I'm a Tom or I'm a Gordon. He asks, what are you? You think he'd know you're a... No. He wants to know, what are you? You a creditor or a debtor? You got a Kleenex? Are you a creditor or a debtor? But let's talk reality. The Spanish say, ¿Cómo se llama? How are you called? Right? That's what they want to know when they meet you. ¿Cómo se llama? How are you called? Well, I'm called Tom, I'm called Gordon, Mr. Smith, whatever. They're asking you how you want to be called. They didn't say, who are you? Only in the English language you say, who are you? And then all the public schools teach you that your who means your name. Because you speak common parlance. You don't understand. There's just another language being spoken when it comes down to your freedom or getting jurisdiction. So, who are you? Who are you?
Flesh and blood and spirit.
Who are you?
Radically.
Good, then we need to go to this.
Way to stand up for yourself.
You know, I usually kind of sometimes start these courses with, I don't think you know who you are, where you live, and what your country is, with all the Americans that I speak with. I really kind of like it. Because we're going to get it out of the Bible again. Who you are, who you aren't, where you live, and what your country is. And they all look at me like I'm a lunatic. And I say, who are you? And they say, well, I'm Tom Smith. So now we're going to talk syllogisms, a couple of premises, and see if we can logically think. It's Sunil, right?
That's right.
Sunil, is that a name? Yes or no? It's
Yes.
not a flesh and blood body, it's just a name.
Yes.
This is a Juanita, and this is a Gordon, and this is a Colin, and this is a Pat, and that's a Tom and a Jim. Those are names, right? Now, I have a lot of names. My kids call me Dad, Daddy, Pops. Some people call me Mr. Hall. Some people call me this. Some people call me that. All sorts of names, right? Your girlfriend calls you Baby Bird or whatever else. I call my boys, my 18-year-old boy, I call him Honey Boy. And he's my babe. I call him Honey Boy. I have a term of endearment I use with most of my kids. Unless I'm pissed, and then I use nasty words of unendearment. So, strictly speaking, by the letter, right to the T, a name is defined as a word by which a person or thing is known. Table, glass, recorder, electronic device, Kleenex, those are nothing but names. If your whole life you and I had been brought up to think this is our tark, then we would say, I got a blue tark over here. And if this half the room was brought up in some part of the country that we call this a tark, and this half was brought up that's called a book, when you bring these two halves together, there's going to be some communication problem. Go pick up the tark. What? So a name is just a word by which a thing is known. Right? And a name is a word by which a person or thing is known, saying a word is defined as a speech sound. So, if Sunil is a name, and a name is a word, and a word's a speech sound, can you be Sunil? Strictly speaking. Oop, got a problem here. You can't be a word. You're a word? You can't be a Sunil. It's just a way to get your attention. It's called an appellation or a calling out. Huh?
A label?
Or a label. Matter of fact, some prisons, you're just a number. Number 727. The guy says, steps up. He's agreeing to be the number. But strictly speaking, or to the letter, you can't be a name. And we can kind of get an example in the Bible at the burning bush when Moses is asking God, what God shall I say sent me? God didn't give him his name. He says, I am that I am. Or you could say, I'm me. So, most of us believe in God, and to those that believe in God and that kind of thing, it's important to get or it's going to be tough to understand this. When this body dies, is there a spirit inside here that goes someplace based on the Christian beliefs? Absolutely. So technically, again to the letter, is this body me? Or is me the spirit inside this body?
Spirit.
It's got to be the spirit inside the body, because when the body dies, the spirit goes somewhere, so they're separate. It's just the vehicle I'm riding around and can't get out till I kill this body. If you're in the Camaro or the Saturn car or the pickup truck, is that just the vehicle that your body with you in it's riding around in? It's just your vehicle or vessel, right? My spirit is in this human vessel, this vessel of flesh and blood. So when you say, well, I'm a flesh and blood, I'm not a flesh, I'm a spirit inside this flesh and blood. So now you know you're not a name. So when I say, you don't know who you are, when you give me a name, that means you don't know who you are. And a policeman comes to the door and says, excuse me, Mr. Hall or Gordon Hall? And I say, yes. Now I know I'm not Gordon Hall. And I see things entirely different. Now, where do you live, Sunil?
Which Sunil?
Where do you live?
Maybe I'm confused here, but like...
I just asked you a question, answer it. Yes, you are confused. So let's see if you can get it. Where do you live?
I live inside this body.
Very good.
Yeah.
Because I looked up the word live, and it says the mental and physical experiences of an individual. Where do I, or me, or I am that I am, have all of my mental and physical experiences? Not in a word. Hell, you might tell me this is Bellingham, but she could say this is really a suburb of Seattle called Bushwhacker. I just believe her. What do I know? She just tells me I'm in the town of Bellingham. That's just a name given to a general location. But somebody from Mexico ain't going to know where am I? Well, I'm on the land. That's where I am. I'm in this body on the land. At a location known as Bellingham. So now you know who you are. You're you. And you know who you aren't. You're not Sunil or Gordon or Tom or Pat or Colin or Juanita. And now you know where you live. You live in the confines of this body. So don't tell people you live at 2012 B Street, Bellingham, Washington, 89201. You can't live in a bunch of words and letters, can you? Not literally. Oh, you're talking literally. You're damn right I am. I don't want to go to jail. And what is your country? In America, the United States is not a country, it's a corporation. So, you want to talk about unconscious. We got people who don't know who they are, they don't know who they aren't, they don't know where they live, and they don't even know their country. You wonder why they're just getting trashed right and left. Same for Canadians. Same thing. Where do you live? If I want to answer your question, oh, in the confines of the skin, Judge. Where else would I live? You like that one. If you want to feel like answering the question. I live in the confines of my skin. I just made him an offer. Well, you can't answer a question except with a question. Well, not always. It doesn't hurt to answer that kind of question. Especially when I just made a counteroffer. I just said, I don't have an address. You see an address on me? What's your address? Don't have one. See, Judge? No, where do you live? Well, I live in the confines of the skin, Judge. I just told him I'm a spirit. Where else would I live? He needs me to give an address. Some fiction. That's all he needs. What's your name? What do you want it for? What's the business of this court? What business of this court is it that I have? Well, you've been charged. I've been charged, or Gordon Hall's been charged. You talk about the conditionally accepted indictment that's been accepted for value and honor in return upon proof of a bona fide claim. Well, which one are you talking about, Judge? Well, you know, we're not having you did this. He's not going to say accuse you of anything. I can tell you that right now. Although he might. John Stewart and I were in court not too long ago. Gave us an emergency hearing the next day. Actually, it was an emergency hearing. The public defender called him up and said, hey, there's a hearing tomorrow morning. You don't have to come. Of course, his ankle bracelet thing said you can't miss any hearings. That public defender wanted to see if he could sucker him. Told us that. I said, we'll be there tomorrow. We're going to conditionally accept. So we went in conditionally accepting his offer to be the public defender again, upon condition that 1, he accept private compensation payment, and 2, he accepts liability. He's converted as liability as surety for the defendant, and the court approve it in writing. I don't even need the second one. I just say if he'll accept private compensation payment, I accept. I conditionally accept the public defender if he'll accept private compensation payment, and the court will approve it in writing. You think they're going to do that? Never.
And the reason is he won't do that because
now he owes me. He's been taken out of his office, and he has a responsibility to me. The court's not paying him anymore.
so that does effectively, if he would agree to that, does that mean he's not an attorney anymore?
He would be a private attorney required to take care of my business. Judge can't let it happen. Won't happen. Never going to happen.
So does that mean he breaks his bar?
He ain't gonna. It's just not happening. Now there's no attorneys in there to do anything.
Because all they are there to argue.
That's all they can do. They're bound by rules. Besides, if he takes compensation payment and steps in, he's going to become surety. So yes.
I have a question about the who are you question.
Yes.
And giving your name. Does it depend on the context? Like, if a police officer comes in and says, yeah, which one of you is Edward? And somebody says, Juanita says, yeah, that's Edward. But if I don't, I have to give my own name.
Happened to me in federal prison.
Okay.
I'm sitting in the quad area. The lunch gal comes down to collect up 15, 18 guys for crew. Smith and Jones and blah, blah, blah. And they're all lining up and they're going, Hall! Hall! She's yelling here. I'm sitting about where Juanita is. I'm just ignoring her. And the guys are saying, right there, because the only picture they had was this. And she's, you, let's go. You're on my lunch crew. I says, I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of a bona fide claim subscribed on the undersigns on limited commercial liability in accord with House Joint Resolution 192 and UCC 3419. She goes, what? I says, you got a claim against me? She says, get your ass up here. I says, by what authority? You're on my lunch crew. I said, do you have a bona fide claim that obligates me to work for you? Got something in writing that I've signed? Is what I said. She's looking at me. I'm giving you an order. I said, I conditionally accept. Do you got the claim? She says to the guard, lock him up. Everybody's, I'm just sitting there and yakking away with her. That whole crew leaves. Whole hall's in big trouble. Guard says, can I speak to you in my office, please? I said, why, sure. We trotted over to her office, and she goes, you were so nice and polite. I'm not going to lock you up. Yeah, right. They had a lot of problem with me, and they knew they just put me in the hole. It had no value. I didn't mind the hole. It didn't bother me. I had a lot of fun in the hole. I made their life interesting. I just playing with them all the time down there.
What's the hole?
It's like you get thrown like solitary confinement, so to speak. Sometimes you got two guys in there and stuff, but throw you in. You can't watch TV. Go up on the roof, be with the group. You get food minimum. The food is much smaller portions. It's not bad.
Can you move around in there?
Yeah, it's just a little tiny bathroom. About 5 or 6 feet wide by there's a bunk in there, a toilet and a sink, and that's about it. You live in a bathroom. It's well lit, and you can't go access things or anything else unless you have a little pull or for some other reason. They let you get books here and there, and you get 3 showers a week is it. And they come and serve the food through the door and that kind of stuff. And so if being alone bothers you, or having a little roommate in there bothers you, not being up there, you shouldn't go there. So I've been, I go there about every place I go. Because I'm not giving pictures, not giving prints, and doing my aberrational behavior. Always doing something weird or different. Well, they finally gave up after 5.5 months keeping me in there because I didn't seem to mind it at all. Just did my workout all the time. Books, this and that, read, study, ponder, a little self-introspection and self-examination. It's kind of fun for me. I don't mind the whole. Doesn't ever bother me. I don't be a bunch of silly-ass slaves anyway. They're always fighting and arguing and quibbling, and, so me, I just soon not even be around them as a general rule. It doesn't bother me not to be talking to people. And I don't let them put somebody in my cell generally. They want you to have somebody in there, 2 or 3 guys cram you in there. And I just simply say, there's going to be problems if you put him in here. They say, what? I said, you've been given notice, but conduct yourself accordingly. They never put him in. Or if there's one in there, or sometimes I'm a little, I might have one come in. One time a guy next door was saying some stuff, so I'm beating on the wall and hearing what he's got to say, and he tells me a little bit about himself. He's from a USP, and on murder, and did this and did that. So this might be an interesting cellmate. So I tell the guard, they say, hey, why don't you sell me up with Ramirez next door here? Oh, we can't. We got separatees on you, blah, 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 blah. Another guard comes by and says, hey, why don't you sell me up? And she goes, okay. And they sell me up. It's just craziness. It's a beautiful thing. And so I'd be in with him for a little while. I like to hear what he's got going and talk to him a little bit and this, that, and the other thing. And when I'm done with it, I tell him, move me out of here. Well, why? Because I said you should. That's why. Because there can be problems. What problems? You've been noticed. 2 minutes later, I'm out. Problem just means mental distress. Yeah, I don't want to have him in there when I'm using the restroom anymore, so it's a small distress to me. What's problems? Well, there's not going to be a fight. We get on great. No problem. I just don't want to put up with him anymore. Or I don't like he snores, or he doesn't like this, or I like having 2 bunks. I can put my stuff up there, lay my food out, do whatever I feel like doing in the cell. I just have kind of like a good time in there. I entertain myself. Got all sorts of stuff I can think about, definitions and poems, and I just sit there and flip through the files. Oh yeah, what was that? Etc. So, back to this.
So the who are you question,
Yeah.
let's say there's a knock on the door and it's a process server or a police officer, and he's like, and he recognizes me because we went to school together. Does he still need to ask me, do I still need to offer him
Oh, yeah.
jurisdiction?
Let me ask you, what do you look like? I can tell you, I don't know what I look like. I can tell you what this vehicle looks like. I can't tell you what I look like. Can you tell me what you look like? Can you describe these electrical impulses that are you? The spirit that's you? Can you? Hell no, not a chance. None of us has seen what we look like. If we are a spirit, I don't know what my spirit looks like. I don't even know how to describe it.
You don't even know our name.
That's about as close as I could come. What do you look like? Ooh, that's about as close as I can get. That kind of implies a meaning, whatever it means.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I don't know, hell.
We don't even know our name.
So, let me ask you, is this body the same as it was when I saw you last night or an hour ago or 2 minutes ago?
No.
What's changed about it? There's different thoughts that are now imprinted in that vehicle, including a cell has fallen off or a hair's fallen off you somewhere. Right? So technically, for crying out loud, he's the same guy he was 2 minutes ago. No, he's not. He's, for all intent and purposes, the same. I couldn't tell you how he's different, but he's not the same. Right? His body uses cells up and stuff, so it's not. It needs re-identifying. Believe it or not, every time they move you, they got to get a new picture and fingerprints and everything. It's really cool.
So every time you get moved, you refuse a picture or refuse fingerprints?
Both. I never refuse anything. I just conditionally accept. Get up here and get a picture. Conditionally accept upon presentation of bona fide claim. You get your ass up here, we're going to taser you. Are you threatening me? Yeah. Well, I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of bona fide claim. Sometimes I throw in the subscribed on the undersigned unlimited commercial liability and a half a dozen other things just for grins. But it's sufficient. I just say upon, you got a bona fide claim? I'll be happy to if you got a bona fide claim. What's bona fide mean? In good faith. That means without fraud, deception, etc. Deceit, fraud, or deception. That's what bona fide is defined as. Or one of its definitions. It's good enough for me. I understand it can't have anything but a fraudulent claim. Because it's not against me, is it? They have a claim against Gordon Hall, and they need me to say I'm him, or answer to that, or give them jurisdiction. Bona fide, in good faith, made or done without fraud, deceit, genuine, real. Another one was without fraud, deceit, or deception is the one I like, but fraud or deceit. And then what's fraud? When you look at fraud and defraud and without fraud, well, let's see what fraud is. I like the definition of fraud. Let's see how Webster's does it. Fraud, deceit, trickery, cheating, law. Intentional deception to cause a person to give up property or some lawful right. Give up property? This is my property, this vehicle. So are they trying to get me to give up my property? Is it a deception to give up my property, to call me something I'm not? Yeah, but they don't know under presumption, assumption. They're allowed to, Edward, cop you went to school with, I don't care if he went to school with you. You might have changed your name to Edward Hall. You might be Gordon Hall next week. You decide you're going to be Gordon Hall. But Edward don't work for you anymore. You like Gordon better. So he comes up, no, you're Edward. What is this guy, a lunatic? Thinks you're a word? He's a nut. That cop's a nut. Not really, he just wants to know if you know who you are. He needs that jurisdiction. So it gets really, really good. Who are you? You got to know who you are. I'm me. No. What's your name? Well, what do you want it for? That's a different deal. What do you want my property for? My name's my property. I know why they want my name. They want to open an account to lodge pecuniary damages. Why are you going to give up your property, your name? You're the lottery board and you like my name to put on the winning ticket? I'm going to give you that. But if you're a policeman that wants my name because you want to arrest me, that you're not going to get to have.
When those guys come to serve you, like this one guy come to serve you.
They come to serve Gordon Hall. When
Yeah,
they come
but-
to serve Dan the Man, what?
Well, he's a young guy. I'm like, where does he come? He doesn't look like he's been a cop before. He's just some young guy who.
What's your point?
What are they? What's their background? Like, how do they know this stuff? Have they been trained?
They just know they have to get. I had a process server come to my buddy's office once, and I'm at my buddy's office. He says, "Oh, no, go take care of it. It's a process server. Don't let him know I'm here." So I go down there, and he goes, "Jeff Tiller?" I said, "I'm a friend of Jeff's. How can I help you?" He said, "Here, you're served." I said, "I'll be sure and give this to Jeff." He says, "You're not Jeff?" I said, "Didn't I just tell you I was his friend?" He said, "Was that his vehicle out front?" I said, "I can't tell you what he drives, but I'd be happy to give it to him. Give it to me." No, I've got to give it to him. I said, "Who shall I say came by?" Once he saw I wasn't arguing with him, he thought I was Jeff Tiller. I'm not denying. I said, I'm his friend. Young process server comes up looking for Dan the Man. I'm his agent. How can I help you? Cop says on the door, "Mr. Dan the Man, you're under arrest." That's an offer. I'm the agent for Dan the Man. How can I help you? That's just a counter offer. I don't care what he accuses you of. I just made a new counter offer. I didn't deny, did I? I confessed and avoided. Which is simply, the definition is more apropos for you all to have.
Black's not the average.
Black's fifth. I think it's fifth. Sixth. I like fourth, fifth, or sixth, and an eighth. I also have some Bouvier's and this, that, and the other thing. I like to look at different definitions till I find one that works for me. Not because of anything other than I see things, I need to see things so I understand. I'm like a cert or something else. I need to bona fide until I see a bunch of definitions of bona fide and they go, without fraud, deceit, or deception. That makes sense to me. Although a lot of them will have those same things, but they come in with other things. Confession and avoidance. A plea in confession and avoidance is one which avows and confesses the truth of the averments of fact in the complaint or declaration, either expressly or by implication, but then proceeds to allege new matter which tends to deprive the facts admitted of their ordinary legal effect, or to obviate, neutralize, or avoid them. Gordon Hall, you're under arrest. I'm the agent for Gordon Hall. How can I help you? That neutralized his legal effect of telling me I'm Gordon Hall, or obviated, neutralized. Or,
Have a nice day. We'll see you later.
how can I help you? No, I know he's got a problem. We have an arrest warrant for you. You have an arrest warrant for me, or do you have it for Gordon Hall? And I'm his agent. How can I help you? He's going to keep coming up with an offer, counter offer. You can come with us or we're going to take you. Who are you? Police Officer Smith. May I see some identification? This uniform and this badge is identifying. Are you refusing to identify yourself? This is enough. You're coming with us. It's another offer. You don't get it. Well, I conditionally accept your offer to come with you upon presentation of a bona fide claim, subscribed on the undersigned's unlimited commercial liability, in accord with House Joint Resolution 192, and upon proof of claim that you have authority over me. Written proof. Be a little. It's just a counteroffer. If he takes you in, don't worry. What's he going to do? They need to book you. People say, what does book mean? This is a book, isn't it? But at the police station, they book you. So what does book mean? Book means to charge with a legal offense. I like Webster's definition of book. When I go to Black's dictionary and I look it up, let's see what it says. This is why I like a layman's dictionary a lot. Booking. Administrative step taken after an arrest. Person is brought to the police station, which involves entry of the person's name, the crime for which the arrest was made, and other relevant facts on the police blotter, and which may also include photographing, fingerprinting, and the like. Administrative steps taken after an arrested person is brought to the police station, which involves entry of the person's name. Give them your name and see what happens to you after that, folks. Admit to being Gordon Hall or Dan the Man or Juanita Chung or some other name. See what happens to you. That name's property.
But that's my property.
Well, then you better assert your rights, huh?
There's a copyright trademark on that name.
Okay.
That's a $1 million use for that name.
It has its place to use that.
May I see that?
Which?
That claim you have against me.
Well, let's keep it to the thing. You want to just do conditionally accept upon presentation of bona fide claim. These have to go. Sure. Now, get your ass over against that wall, etc. Now you're like, I didn't get to look at it, didn't get to say anything about it. You're getting a little confused. You got to be careful. You start getting into that's not the issue.
Yeah.
May I see the claim? You've just admitted you got one. You going to argue it? You have a bona fide claim subscribed in your unlimited commercial liability. They can run their railroad game. They need you to start answering some questions to give jurisdiction. They might pull you up and say, what year is this? Who's the president? What country are you in? Do you know your name? Start trying to make you feel bad, like you don't know who you are and who you aren't. Are they going to think I'm wacky? No, they don't. They know exactly what you're doing. You think they haven't run into 100 guys like you? All these policemen run into the patriots that are trying this
Especially
stuff.
now.
You think they don't know there's something to it? You think they haven't heard stories? You think they had a whole crew up at Terminal Island? Don't know that warden got arrested and removed from office? I came out of the Shaw Hall one time and this guard goes, hey, Hall. I said, what do you need, so-and-so? He says, you're not mad at me, are you? I said, no, why? He says, I only got a little house and not very much money, man. Because he known I put a lien against the warden and had him arrested and removed from office. What was I going to do it to him? But he didn't take my chest, son. I said, you can take anything that belonged to me, don't worry. As long as you don't have to worry about it. I used to all my stuff got to keep all my stuff in the locker. Contraband, all sorts of stuff after that. It really got nice for me. I got treated real good. They wouldn't let me go, but I hadn't done the right stuff to cause that yet. So, they need jurisdiction over you. They need you to answer questions. They need you to argue or fight or deny or go silent or something. So they'll play games with you. And this is where you practice it up. You'll get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? What do you want to know
wants to
for?
know?
Yeah, who wants to know? Why do you want to know who they are? Why do you want to see their ID? Can you tell me?
Because then you have somebody to make a claim against.
Yeah, I want to know who I'm going to lean up.
I want to know who I'm going to But you don't say that.
No, I'm just saying
I wanna
myself.
know
I'm
who
just
I'm
telling you
leaning
why
up.
do I want it? Why I'm trying to get some guy's name or see his ID. I want to know who I'm going to lean up.
I want to know who I'm
I'm not going to tell him that, but that's
Yeah.
what that's what I want the ID for.
It's about business.
And I know that police are required to show their ID. They're required. They can't just say this uniform and that is ID. They can say it, but doesn't mean that's good enough. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to sense whether you know what you're talking about or not. So as you get more fluid and practice with your friends and back and forth, you're going to be able to get good at this and know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Because you're going to know who you are and who you aren't. And you know where you live. And when you're talking to a friend or out on the street or you're doing credit card business, you don't get all technical and formal. He's not a policeman. He's not the court system trying to take your life away, all right? in common parlance, be a normal guy. To some degree. Don't be getting in fights and arguments with people. I like using when I'm at the bank, at the grocery store. What's your zip code? Why do you want to know? I'm curious, what do you want the zip code for? We just want to know where our shoppers are coming from. But does it really matter? No. Does it matter to you if you give the zip code? Yeah. If you feel like it, give them the zip code. Don't get all anal about it. But it's fun to see their response.
The girl last night at the hotel, she's going, "I need to know your phone number." I said, "I don't have one." I have to have a phone number. Make one up.
Why didn't you ask her, why do you need my number?
I did.
What'd she
Well,
say?
we have to have it for our files.
And what happens if I don't have one?
So,
And if I don't have one, will you still rent me a room?
yeah.
What'd she say? Aren't you curious?
Even Dennis is-
They just need a number to have in there to contact somebody.
Yeah.
Because they're bureaucrats have been given rules. So you can decide whether you want to give them yours or just some fictive phone number.
She wanted to know
407.
Dennis's license plate number, and he said, "I don't know." I said, "Make one up."
So they'd like to know your license plate number, so if somebody hits the car out in the parking lot,
I
they
mean,
can
it's
come and
not
find
always-
you.
It's not always, I don't think, Gordon, that you want to go through your life being confrontational.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
You know, I mean,
But think about what they're trying to do with
We
that
wanna
here at a
start-
hotel.
Asking questions. It's a good starting process.
You want to know why you need it, and you can think on this. Why do they want your license plate? Somebody breaks into the car out here, or somebody hits it, or they need to move it, or some other thing here on the property. They want to know, or there's over parking, and they're trying to see which guests are parking and not parking. These are all things that are for your benefit.
Mhm.
So you can answer them or not. That's up to you. Don't get all that. It's just a hotel clerk. Or you hiding from somebody, and then don't worry about that. Now, if it's a policeman or something else, or you think you got a problem or a process server, but why would you hide from a process server? I have a, excuse me, Mr. Dan the Man?
Yes, how you look?
Great. You Dan the Man?
I'm called down, man.
You're served. Just, how can I help you?
Oh my.
I'm a process server. Go ahead and give it to me. Are you Dan the Man?
I'm a friend of his.
I'm the agent for
Agent.
How can I help you? Or I have a warrant, or I have a suit. Well, give it to me. I'll see to it he gets it. Or you might just want to, it doesn't matter, you're just a process server. Sure, I'm Gordon Hall. Because I want to deal with it, right? I don't want to hide. I don't like not answering my door
Do we
and
get
not
to
answering.
do we get to see it first? What's this about?
Well, let me see what you got.
And what's this about?
It's like my buddy at Safford. He got called up there one time, so the counselor goes up with him. There's a big burly sheriff there, and he says, "You, John Matthews." He says, "What is this regarding?" He's got some papers, and he says, "Are you John Matthews?" A little more vociferous. He says, "What is this regarding?" He goes, third time, "I have divorce papers here for John Matthews." He goes, "Why didn't you say so? I'll take those." And he handed them to him. He wanted the divorce papers. So, but he also didn't want a civil suit from somebody. So if that sheriff had a civil suit over this guy's white-collar crime, he might have, I don't know what he just said, but he wouldn't have, admitted to being, "Oh, I'll take those." He still never admitted, "Oh, I'll take those." "Why didn't you say so?" "I'll take those." And sheriff gave them to him, but he still never identified him. He said, "I'll take those." Do a little color. Counselor didn't say a word. He just sitting there watching. Hernandez is this counselor we know named Hernandez. He was a little afraid of all of the patriot kind of guys. He knew there was something to it. He just didn't want, he just trying to do his job and keep his paycheck. Didn't want problems, Don't want somebody filing lawsuits against him or leaning him up or any of that other stuff.
So I have a question about being an agent. Someone knocks on my door and says, are you someone's Edward or whatever? And I say, well, I'm an agent for...
I'm the agent for Edward, or I'm the agent for Gordon Hart. What is this regarding?
Am I help? Because I want to be able to understand where other people are coming from and help solve problems. So does that cause a problem for them if I say I'm the agent for so and so? Can they
Try. What is this regarding? The cop says, Mario Jones, what is this regarding? I have divorce papers here. Well, then I guess he should have said so to begin with, huh?
But if I'm the agent first, if I say I'm the agent for the straw man, can they give me those papers, or are they
Sure.
getting in trouble?
Notice to the agents, notice to the principal, notice to the principal, notice to the agent. I can't help it if he doesn't understand law.
And do
Take
they
it away,
need-
I don't care.
Do they need some kind of? What if? How do they know I'm not just making it up that I'm the agent? I mean, I know I'm the agent.
Couldn't tell you how they don't know. They're just looking for Edward, and you, Edward? What's this regarding?
Is authorized representative and agent the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more colorable to say authorized representatives. On a lot of our court pleadings, we put, at the bottom, we put, Gordon Hall, authorized representative
I called
under
up
the signature line.
I called up the IRS a couple months ago to check up on something, and she was asking me questions to confirm my identity. She's
Yeah.
saying, "Well, what was on the tax form 2 years ago that under this name?"
Well, I
And
just call and give them the
so I
Hall's ID.
answered all her questions.
Okay.
But I answered it as if I was answering it for someone else.
Okay.
And that confused her. And she said, "Well, aren't you so and so?" And I could tell she didn't know what she was asking. She was asking. It sounded to me like she was asking in common parlance, and so I just said, "Okay, yes, I am." And I don't know if that was a mistake or not.
Not at all. You're just a disembodied voice over the phone.
Right.
IRS calls you, say, Gordon Hall. I said, how can I help you? Is this Gordon Hall? How can I help you? Is this Gordon Hall? How can I help you? And then they go on and start telling me what. Oh, we need to know if this is Gordon Hall. Well, who are you? IRS agent so-and-so. Why don't you give me your phone number and let me verify that that's in fact true. If you want to get all anal about it, I'm not too worried about it. We're creditors. We don't mind working to help solve other people's problems. The IRS or the Canadian Tax Service or the FTB, Federal Franchise Tax Board of California, gets a hold of a guy. I had a client the other day. He got a franchise tax board's after him for $37,000. They showed up at his door the other day. So his dad paid me to take him on as a client for a month. And so he's all stressing and freaking. I said, what'd they drop off? He says, well, he faxed it over to me. And this guy's essentially broke. He's married to an heiress. But he ain't got any money in his name, nothing else. His income's about $1,500 a month, and his overhead's about $11,000 a month. I said, well, how do you manage that? He says, got great grandparents. I got great parents. His dad does support him, and her dad supports him. What do I care? So he says, well, the franchise tax board came by, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, let's fill out the stuff for him. They want you to fill out a financial statement. I said, you own anything? He said, no. I said, fill it out then. He said they wanted me to pay $625 a month, and the $37,000 is due like January or February. I said, well, that's an offer. I said, put in the cross out $625 and put in $25. And I said, cross out 2010 and put 2015. Pay it off in the year 2015. He said, well, dang. He said, I said, now send it third party. He said, well, she told me just to fax it. I said, well, fax it then. And he faxed it back to the FTB. And she called him. He said, well, she called, but I wasn't here. I said, well, call her back. He called back, and she said, well, I got your stuff. And do you have any other this? You fill out a financial statement? He goes, sure. She goes, well, I got to go on vacation for 3 weeks. Get that other stuff to me, and I'll get back with you. He says, what's that mean? I says, you don't have no financial statement, right? He says, yeah. I said, she wants a couple of your schedules from the last couple of years on tax returns. I said, they show any income? He says, no. Schedule C's or something. I said, give her the schedules. I said, now she can see you can't afford anything. Because I look at this thing, $11,000 a month in bills, and he's got $1,500 a month coming in. I says, what are you doing? He says, we got great parents. I said, no problem. The truth always works.
Hey, when you scratch that out, would you initial that?
You could.
Okay.
I told him just scratch it out and put it, don't even initial it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she left it and told him to fax it to her. Why did she leave it? Because she wanted the offer to come from him. That's why. click. That's why you go to a car dealership, they want you to make an offer. And they'll take it back to the finance manager and try and get it accepted, won't they? They need you to make an offer. They're selling it for $62,595. Be happy. I accept. Here's my exemption.
Yeah, that's fine.
They don't want you doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Although that's not going to work too well with them. There's some other technology coming out, so hang in there. We'll get it. We'll get this wired on how to use the exemption number
Yeah.
on all this stuff. We're using it on bills they send you, and we're able to shove that down based on contract law. But I like to be able to go out and use it on the normal day-to-day stuff, buying cars, utilities, credit card payments, and not have it be a negative effect. And I think some of the guys are getting it now. So it seems like, according to Brandon, we'll be able to bring out that technology at the LA seminar, and he told me what it was, and conceptually or theoretically, I buy it. Makes sense to me. Now we'll see if they're really actually doing it. Guys are doing it. So,
That sounds kind of. My first reaction is that sounds scary. Like the whole, if everybody was running around, not having to serve their brother to pay for things.
well, this guy said that
That ain't ever gonna happen.
this guy said when he did it, that the Federal Reserve called him up and asked him some questions, and he passed that and was able then to open it. You're right, it would call for some prudence and not to be brought out in a public forum at a seminar, so it's not my decision, so were it up to me, I'm not so sure I would do that. But really, what does it matter?
Somebody's gonna try it.
Well, it seems that it might be working, at least for the San Diego guy, etc. So, and conceptually and theoretically, it makes complete sense to me, based on my knowledge of banking, exemption numbers, Federal Reserve notes, model numbers, the rest of that makes good sense to me. So we'll see. So back to who, what, and where. If you know who you are, and you know who you aren't, and you know where you live, and you know your country, you're starting to wake up. An interesting definition of conscious in Webster's is awake to one's surroundings and identity. That's strange. And identity? I thought conscious meant merely just being awake. No. Awake to one's surroundings and identity. I like that. So being conscious, so I could say most of America's unconscious. And I understand that. And it makes sense to me. Because I now know what that is. Would you all like to take a break?
Yeah.
Just a quick question to finish, Gordon. I don't know if I missed it, but what your country is? What did you talk about?
My country's California. I know that states are countries, and the United States is a federal corporation. There's a document called Cooperative Federalism.
Yeah.
How would that apply to Canadians?
I believe that you have something similar up there. You have, 10 provinces?
Yeah.
I would probably say those provinces comprise countries.
It's a confederation.
There's
There's a federal government as well.
there is a document.
Yeah, but it's called what?
It's called federal government, not a national government.
Yeah, but the federal government is, federal means of or by compact. So these 10 provinces agree to have a national government over them.
So it's similar to the...
Same as the United States. In other words, it's a Republican form of government in that it has, states and a national and a few other checks and balances.
There is a document that says the provinces of Canada include. That's what it says. The Yukon Territory, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. So what we think of our territories are actually provinces. Provinces are actually countries.
Okay.
Provinces are countries.
Yeah.
Do you have,
British Columbian.
do you have
Yes,
that
you are.
article, Colin?
It's David Butterfield's.
But
he-
nonetheless, it's still none of their business. What
I'll
do you
get it
want
to
to
you.
know for? When you're dealing with them, just what's your business? Well, we need to know your citizenship, and why do you need to know mine?
Yeah.
Sovereign.
Well, in a sense, but see, the purpose of me being that California is my country is I have an entity big enough to take on the federal government
Yeah.
because the federal government is their agent. And it does what the state says to do. And I have the federal government to go to when the state gets out of hand. Somebody like Al Capone takes over Illinois, essentially Chicago, and runs the state through intimidation and money, bribery, and everything else. It's important that there be a federal government that can bring the states back in line. It's all proper checks and balances for quality government. That's what you need. These aren't like new concepts. You know, the Roman Republic was under the same thing before it, you know, ended up with what it was. What and the interesting was the triumvirate at one point in time. There's that 3 number again. Legislative, executive, and judicial. Anyway, why don't we take a break? What time is it now?
11.
What, 30 minutes? 20 minutes? What would you like?
20 minutes.
20. See you in 20 minutes.
Yeah.